Hey everyone, if you've played Dead Rails, you know that going into a new run with nothing but your bare hands can be a real pain. It's tough to make it far without any starting items, and let's be honest, buying items that only last for one life doesn't really cut it either. But don't worry, there's a way to kick off your journey already stacked with gear, and that's by choosing the right class. In this video, we're going to break down the best classes to pick, so you can start your adventure fully loaded and ready to take on whatever the game throws at you. Choosing the right class can be a game changer, whether you're just starting out or looking for a fresh way to dominate the Dead Rails world. Some classes give you a solid advantage right from the start, helping you survive longer and face tougher enemies with confidence. Stick around as we dive into the ultimate Dead Rails class guide and tier list. This is going to help you pick the best class for your next run. Let's get into it! I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking classes in Dead Rails. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching! The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, the Alamo, Conductor, and Arsonist. Alright, now let's dive into some of the coolest classes in Dead Rails. Trust me, if you haven't picked a class yet, you're in for a treat, because these are game changers. Whether you're going solo or rolling with a crew, the right class can completely turn the tide of battle. So, let's break it down. First up, we have the Alamo. This class is all about surviving the chaos, especially when things start to get rough. It might not offer any passive bonuses, but the starting items you get are pretty solid. You get a helmet for extra protection, 3 metal sheets for some makeshift armor, and 3 rolls of barbed wire to set up a decent defense. Plus, there's a shovel which, let's be real, is always useful when things get a little messy. The only downside? It's not going to help you out much offensively. But hey, if you like to play the defensive role and build up your fort, the Alamo's got your back. It's a good pick if you're looking to hold the line and slowly wear down your opponents. Then there's the Conductor. Now this one's a bit of a sleeper class. The Conductor might not look like much at first glance, but in a team setting, it's a total game changer. The ability to revive your teammates by sacrificing half your HP can mean the difference between life and death for your crew. The starting items aren't too flashy, but they're pretty handy. You get a shovel, a couple of bandages for quick healing, and 2 doses of snake oil. Because, let's face it, who doesn't love some good old snake oil to patch things up? The Conductor shines in multiplayer games, especially when you're rolling with newer players who need some extra help staying alive. The only downside? No offensive abilities, so you'll have to rely on your team to do the heavy lifting in the damage department. Next, let's talk about the Arsonist. If you love chaos and flames, this class is for you. The Arsonist's specialty is, well, fire. And not just regular fire. Your fire damage is doubled, meaning anything you throw into the flames will pack a serious punch. You start with 4 Molotov cocktails. And let me tell you, these things are amazing for clearing out big crowds of enemies. The only problem is, Molotovs aren't exactly easy to come by, so you'll need to use them wisely. But when you get that perfect throw and watch everything go up in flames, pure satisfaction. It's a fun class to play if you like causing havoc from a distance and clearing out the battlefield in style. Now, if you're thinking of picking between these 3, it really depends on your playstyle. The Alamo is great for the patient, strategic players who like to set up defenses and play the long game. The Conductor is perfect if you're a team player who wants to keep the crew alive and kicking, even when the odds are stacked against you. And the Arsonist? Well, if you like playing with fire, literally, and you're all about dealing massive damage to groups of enemies, then the Arsonist is your go-to choice. No matter which class you choose, each one offers a unique way to approach the game. You're never locked into just one strategy. Dead Rails lets you experiment, adapt, and figure out what works best for you and your team. So, which class are you feeling? The tanky Alamo, the life-saving Conductor, or the fiery Arsonist? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what works for you. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Miner, Ironclad, and Priest. Alright, let's dive into the world of Dead Rails, where every class has its strengths and weaknesses. If you're looking for a more laid-back yet effective gameplay experience, you'll definitely want to check out the B-tier classes. Now don't let the B-tier label fool you. They may not be top tier, but they can totally hold their own, especially in the right hands. So, let's break down some of the best B-tier picks you can choose. First up, we've got the Miner. This class is seriously underrated in the early game. With a starting pickaxe and mining helmet, you're already set up for success when it comes to gathering resources. The headlamp on your helmet is a game changer, especially during those stormy nights when visibility is low. The best part? You're one of the best early game classes in Dead Rails, giving you a solid head start. However, let's be real, the Miner isn't much of a combat powerhouse. You're not going to be slaying foes left and right with this class, but you'll definitely shine when it comes to resource gathering. Plus, the ability to light up your surroundings is so clutch. It's like having a portable flashlight. Next, let's talk about the Ironclad. If you're the type of player who loves to be a tank and just soak up all the damage, this class is for you. You start off with full body armor, which means you're basically a walking fortress from the moment you spawn in. The trade-off? You're moving at a slower pace, as your movement speed is reduced by 10%. But hey, when you're that tanky, who cares about running fast, right? While the Ironclad offers amazing survivability, its sluggishness can be a bit of a drag in certain situations. And to be honest, you can get some good armor early on, so the Ironclad's armor advantage isn't as unique as it seems. Still, if you like to absorb hits and be a sturdy presence on the battlefield, this class is solid. Now, let's check out the Priest. Here's a class that's got a very niche advantage. Immunity to lightning strikes during stormy nights. Sounds pretty cool, right? But here's the catch. It doesn't do much else. Starting off with a shovel, holy water, and crucifixes doesn't exactly scream combat expert. And that's where the Priest falls a bit short. In solo play, this class can feel incredibly underwhelming. Unless you're specifically preparing for those stormy nights where lightning could ruin your day, the Priest's utility isn't as impactful as you'd hope. It's definitely a class that shines more in group settings, but in solo play, you might be better off looking elsewhere. Even with their drawbacks, these B-tier classes can be a lot of fun if you play them strategically. The Miner, for example, is excellent if you want to focus on gathering resources and building up your supplies without worrying too much about combat. The Ironclad can be a real powerhouse in the right hands, especially if you like to stay on the defensive and play the long game. As for the Priest, while it might not be the most powerful class in Dead Rails, it can still shine in certain situations, especially if you team up with other players. So while these B-tier classes may not be the first pick for every player, they certainly have their charm and utility. They're perfect if you're looking for something a bit different, or if you just enjoy a more unique playstyle. Whether you're digging for resources, soaking up damage, or staying safe from lightning, these classes bring something valuable to the table. You just have to know how to make the most of their strengths. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Conductor, Zombie, High Roller, and Cowboy. Alright folks, let's dive straight into the weird and wild world of Dead Rails classes. You've got a bunch of unique characters to choose from, each with their own quirks, perks, and challenges. But today, we're talking about 4 of the most exciting, starting with the Conductor. This class is an absolute beast when it comes to speed. If you love the thrill of going fast, the Conductor is your go-to. The best part? You're literally the one driving the train, and while you're behind the wheel, your train moves 30% faster. I mean, who wouldn't want that? This makes it an absolute must for speedruns, and even better when you're playing with a team. Just imagine, you're zooming across the map while your teammates are cheering you on. However, there's a catch. You don't start with a weapon, which can make things a little tricky if you run into a horde of zombies. But hey, speed over firepower, right? Next up, let's talk about the Zombie class. You're not just any ordinary undead in this game. You've got some unique perks that make you a force to be reckoned with. First, you can eat dead bodies to replenish your health. That's right, the more you feast on the fallen, the stronger you get. The downside? You can't use bandages or snake oil for healing, so if there are no bodies around, you're in trouble. On top of that, it's harder for enemies to spot you, making you a sneaky survivor in the world of Dead Rails. This is definitely one of the best classes for solo farming, but just remember, you're always looking for the next meal to stay alive. If you're the kind of player who loves racking up cash, then High Roller is the class for you. Why? Because you get 50% more cash when you collect money bags. Imagine the loot, people! You can really snowball your economy with this class and get ahead of the competition. But there's a big downside. You're 10 times more likely to get struck by lightning, and trust me, that's a disaster waiting to happen. So while you're stacking cash and living the high life, make sure you're not caught out during a storm night, or you might end up getting fried. Now let's talk about the Cowboy. You know those classic Western heroes? Well, that's basically what this class is. You start with a tamed horse, which is awesome because you can zip around the map in style. Plus, you get a revolver ammo, and a saddle right off the bat. This gives you a solid head start, especially when you're playing solo. The bad news? The cowboy doesn't have any passive bonuses, so you'll have to rely on your own skills. But honestly, who wouldn't want to ride into the sunset on a horse while blasting away enemies? It's the perfect class for those who want a bit of that Wild West vibe. The Conductor really shines when you're playing with a group. The faster train makes everything smoother, especially during chaotic moments when speed is key. But don't let that fool you. Being a Conductor is all about managing the pace of the game. You'll need to stay on your toes, especially when you don't have a weapon at the start. But if you can handle the heat, this class will give you that sweet, fast-paced gameplay you're looking for. Meanwhile, the Zombie class is a great choice for players who want to play it cool and survive on their own terms. You're not just running around shooting everything in sight. Instead, you're scavenging, feeding on the dead, and sneaking around unnoticed. It's a more methodical approach to the game, which can be a lot of fun if you're into the whole stealthy survival vibe. The High Roller class is perfect for those who want to make money fast, but man, you better be prepared for the consequences. The lightning strikes are no joke. One wrong move, and you'll find yourself on the ground looking like a burnt marshmallow. Still, if you're a gambler at heart, this class will let you take risks and get huge rewards, so it's all about finding that balance. Lastly, the cowboy is just plain fun. Who doesn't want to be a cowboy, right? You get a horse, you get a gun, and you get to live the dream. Sure, you don't have any fancy passive perks, but sometimes simplicity is key. If you like playing the Lone Ranger, the cowboy's got your back. Each of these classes brings something unique to the table, and it really comes down to your play style. Whether you're zipping around as the Conductor, feeding on the dead as a zombie, stacking cash as the High Roller, or living out your cowboy dreams, Dead Rails has something for everyone. The classes in this tier are in order from top left to bottom right: Vampire and Survivalist. Alright, let's talk about two of the most unique and exciting classes in Dead Rails that will definitely get your adrenaline pumping: the Vampire and the Survivalist. These classes aren't just about brute strength. They're all about playing smart, taking risks, and mastering your own survival instincts. So, buckle up because we're diving deep into what makes them so awesome. And a bit terrifying too. First up, we have the Vampire class. Now, this one is perfect if you're someone who thrives in solo play. Why? Well, the Vampire has insane movement speed and melee damage that can turn you into a one-person wrecking crew. But here's the catch: you're not invincible. Stepping into direct sunlight will cause you to take damage, so you've got to constantly be on your toes, calculating when and where you can safely fight. But don't let that scare you. With high survivability, the Vampire can hold their own like no other, making them a solid choice if you're flying solo. Just be prepared for a unique playstyle that's not quite like any other class in the game. Next, let's talk about the Survivalist. If you like to live on the edge and are ready to embrace a bit of risk, this class is for you. The Survivalist's damage output increases the lower your health gets, meaning you can deal some insane damage when you're at your most vulnerable. It's a bit of a high-risk, high-reward situation, but if you can handle the pressure, this class can absolutely wreck enemies in no time. That said, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. If you're not careful, that risky playstyle can backfire. But for those who love a challenge, there's nothing more satisfying than pulling off a victory in the tightest of situations. Now, one thing you should know is that these two classes have their own unique quirks. The Vampire is great for solo players, giving you the ability to survive and deal significant damage without relying on others. On the flip side, the Survivalist is all about playing on the edge, perfect for those who thrive on the thrill of taking damage but dishing out even more in return. Each class has its strengths, but they both demand a certain level of mastery and attention to detail. And here's the kicker: they both cost 75 bonds to unlock. It's not a huge price to pay, but these classes come with a learning curve that's totally worth the investment. Whether you're looking to dominate the battlefield with swift strikes and survivability, or unleash devastation while living dangerously, these classes have something special for you. So, which one will you choose? The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.